Why don't people ever complain about male sexualization? In my experience, they do. The trend of guys getting topless for no good reason is really cringe and outdated emo. Also recently there's been a backlash to E.G. Ellen bringing out a cardboard cutout of Zac Efron in front of him which he was visibly uncomfortable with. That's just one example. Emo convos about desexualizing women should also include that stuff. Honestly, it's appalling. Take any male actor in the MCU. Put in that hash on Instagram or TikTok or whatever and all you'll find is people making edits in videos sexualizing the actor's every move. Imagine if a man made a TikTok or whatever saying how sexy ScarJo is over a clip of her walking. Because that's all I'm seeing fangirls do. It's disgusting. People do complain about it, but in my experience males have way less negative interactions with being sexualized opposed to females, so it's maybe overshadowed by the sheer amount of it. Females get sexualized so sickening early that the issue is so much more pressing too. That doesn't mean we shouldn't acknowledge it. Because sexualization of men is not as commonly linked to treating them as second-class citizens as is the case with women. The way I always saw it, if it was equal in sexualizations of both, then it's okay. Taking your example, yes, I would say that both Sephiroth and even Cloud are sexualized, but so is Tifa and Yuffie. They too are overly sexualized when they're meant to be fighters. But with both males and females being sexualized, it's over the top and okay. What I dislike and find horrible is when it's only one-sided. When only girls are sexualized, or even when only guys are sexualized. It's the one-sidedness that I will complain about. Girls in bikini armor when guys wear realistic plate is sexist, but so is when you have 40-year-old women screaming about a young actor who is playing a sexy teenager vampire, whereas the women are normal is sexist. I mean, honestly, that's pedophilia and should be called out as such. I will agree it's less when it's one-sided against males, but it is also less common when it comes to males. And usually these males are the stars. Super fighters. Or super smart and complex in their character, whereas when the woman is sexualized it's always the prize, so that she can be owned. But by no means does that make it okay, and it should be called out also. But I believe it's this disproportion in when it happens and why is what makes it less called out. Sorry for the rant, but this is something my husband and I talk about a lot in media and what a real feminist looks like. There is a lot of catching up to do for women's rights. But along the way there needs to be changes to free men from toxic masculinity traits too, or it will not be true equality in the end. I saw a great point on this once. Both male and female sexualization, for example in movies, comics, etc., are largely for men. Think about it. Most women don't give a flying fuck about a shredded shirtless dude. It's all playing into toxic masculine stereotypes for men to project on. There's a RLLY good comparison of Hugh Jackman on a men's magazine where he's shirtless and flexing, versus on a women's magazine where he's literally in a cozy sweater and looks like a dad. That demonstrates this pretty well. I can't remember which magazines off the top of my head, unfortunately. While all genders suffer from over-sexualization, women bear the brunt of it in all aspects of life. The double standard is crazy. It's a damned if you do and damned if you don't situation. Women are devalued for being too sexual, and yet criticized for being prudes. It's ridiculous. Whereas men who are over-sexualized are often seen as what to aspire to for other men. And it doesn't hurt their perceived public, societal value if they're overly sexualized. Unlike with women who are often seen as holding less value, based off of their sexuality choices. Women are over-sexualized to the point that they will be objectified multiple times a day. Daily. For doing the most basic activities. I.e. walking, working, exercising, etc. They are criticized 24/7. 365 days. All genders are sexually harassed. All genders are objectified one way or another. But what it boils down to is societal stature, value and power. Cis men hold so much more power, privilege than cis women. Put race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, etc. on the back burner for now. That right now I'm not 100% surprised that the sexualization of cis men isn't really discussed. I hope that as society unpacks and peels back the layers of sexism and move closer to true, intersectional feminism, it'll be addressed. Not the TERF brand that mainstream loves to label as feminism. Think of it this way. One person is actively choking and another sustained a non-life-threatening injury. Who are you going to administer aid to first? I know issues aren't that simple, and in reality there's a lot of nuances to take into consideration. But there's your answer. For argument's sake, I'm focusing on straight cis men and cis women. I am also going off of my own lived experience. The level of sexualization I saw, heard, experienced living as my AGAB, as well as the shift in privilege I've experienced when assumed straight and cis. As a man. Sorry for the long rant. I hope I'm making sense. From my personal experience, men oftenly view male sexualization as a form of empowerment. Like big muscles and jawline and such. It is something true for me when I was younger. That and the fact that confidently showing off your cool-looking muscles and physiques are considered positive by society. At least that is how people see it where I am from. For women, however, I think female sexualization are viewed as negative for two main reasons. 1. Because the female sexualization usually are not made for women but rather for men. For example, fan service. 2. Society tends to slut-shame women for showing off their body, and as such women view sexualization as a negative. Sorry for the odd grammar, I am not a native English speaker. Care to elaborate at all? A lot of women complain about objectifying by men, but then objectify men by thinking of them like a wallet. I think 1. Most men don't care, and 2. There is this, it's only fair since there is way more female sexualization. At least in games and animated series. Because those who could complain aren't triggered and those who would complain aren't affected.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.